Hello, everyone. And on our podcast show this week, or rather this weekend, it's a special update because we're in between seasons. So consider this kind of one of those recap shows that everyone does in the middle of the season, like in anime, where they kind of have to recap the big battles between, Goku and all the other 20 other people that he beat up, or One Punch Man, stuff like that, right? Or Demon Slayer, right? So we are going to recap our last season, which is season 5. I can't believe we've gotten that far. It's 5 seasons of shows, and we hope that you've been enjoying them. That's well over 50 plus episodes, and especially our longest season ever has been season 5 because of our special trip to Taiwan, where we actually got sponsored to go.
That's right.
And that was a big, big step for us. And it seems that the sponsorship train continues. More on that a little bit later. But for now, we're going to kind of think back and say, hey, what was our favorite things about season 5? And I'll start things off because thankfully it's something that Winston put together because I didn't actually think about going to Computex. I have wanted to go back to Taiwan for a very long time. I just wanted to go back for, reasons, right? Whether it's a vacation or tourism, I always only went there for work or for looking at computer stuff. But this time we kind of did a little bit of both.
Yeah.
And we ended up back at Computex. How did we get there?
Well, remember last year that we first started, and I think the podcast was kind of like coming along. It was growing, and I wanted
subscribers.
This is getting some more subscribers and stuff like that. And since we have like tech backgrounds, right? And you've been in the tech industry and you know a lot of people in, CES, Computex and stuff like that. And I also do the same thing, similar. We also know a lot of people. So I thought, well, COVID's been like 2 to 3 years and nobody's gone anywhere. And I thought, well, what about, the following year, which is 2023? And it's good to reconnect with some of the people that we know before in the industry and stuff like that. And with the podcast growing, I thought, okay, with our tech-based backgrounds, we want to maybe catch up with some of the people, some of the friends that we haven't seen for many years. And a great place to do that is in Computex in Taiwan.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I think, at least you had the idea to kind of just do interviews with certain companies and, have them kick in some dollars to help us get to Taiwan.
Yeah, that's right.
But what actually happened is that I think word got around that we were doing these podcasts that weren't specifically product related. And we ended up telling a whole bunch of really cool stories that I think of all the things that make people gravitate towards a organization or a company, it's literally the people there, the leadership. Yeah. And we, right out of the gate, we had an opportunity to interview one of the, I guess he would be one of the innovators in the space, which is Kenny Lin. He's the guy behind Thermaltake. He's the CEO. And we found out some really interesting things about his business that he was very enthusiastic to share, even though we didn't have a very long time with him. But he's so into cycling that he actually created a division of Thermaltake to take advantage of bringing that sport to the masses in Taiwan. And Taiwan right now is having a bit of a, for the last few years, has had a cultural revolution where cycling has become, they've taken it back from a utilitarian thing and brought it to the forefront as something that is meant to be recreational. rather than work. Which was actually very surprising because I didn't think we were interviewing Kenny. I think there was a little bit of turmoil behind the scenes.
That's right, because we didn't expect to interview any of the big guys. We were just going to go there and speak to some of the reps about the company and maybe some products, stuff like that. We had Thermaltake, we booked in ASRock and also Cougar. Those were the only 3. But the first one we did was with Thermaltake, and I think that was even a kind of ad hoc, off-the-cuff kind of thing. Because one of the reps says, oh, you're here, Winston, and Stephen, you're here. So how about you go into our, the grand opening of their bike shop? I thought, okay, let's go there and check it out. Maybe we'll speak to some bike guy, right? It turns out that the rep says, oh, no, you're going to speak to Kenny. I said, oh, really? I didn't know that. And I was really surprised because, having time off taken from a CEO, because, they're super busy, right? Yeah. Every minute is costing them
very expensive.
Very expensive. So it turns out that, we managed to get a interview through. That
Yes.
was surprising, and basically we just talked about his passion about his bikes because nobody knew why Kenny decided to do bikes, right?
Yeah,
it was all a surprise, and and with this interview, with this kind of podcast, people now understand why, which is great.
I think they have a better understanding because if you, from our perspective, asking questions of staff, like everyone had a different level of understanding of why he even pursued this. I know that he loves to ride his bike and everything, and that's core to Kenny. Like he's been a cyclist all his life. It's
That's
just
right.
one of his passions that happened to have turned into a business. It makes a lot more money, obviously, because the margin is way better than IT. But he's also found a way to reconnect with the community because they do cycling rides. It's part of
right.
their culture now,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. But I found that like even within the organization, that there was less understanding about why would you go into bikes when we're in IT. I think that in a lot of cases, Kenny connected the dots between what they do and what cycling needs. And they participate in these virtual triathlons, which took off during the COVID era, right? For the last 2-3 years, people were competing virtually and honing their skills inside in isolation, right? And having the technology and the tools necessary to kind of bring that esports component that Thermaltake had,
That's right, yeah.
and that hardware know-how. They built standing desks that had the ability to connect bikes. They had connections.
Cycle desk.
They
Yeah.
built software and apps to help connect everything together, so that system below your desk was just as much of part of the experience as
Yeah.
the cycling part of it was.
That's right.
And it takes a guy that has resources but also vision to kind of
That's
put that
true.
together.
That's true.
And hearing that in the only way that you would understand is hearing it from him. Because
true.
if we had any other person besides Kenny tell us that story, I think that we would be just as befuddled as the rest of the industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I think
he needed to tell that
That's
story
right.
himself.
Coming from himself, and he's taken what he's actually done at Thermaltake, the marketing and all the social media stuff like that. He's actually applied that onto his bike business.
Yeah.
So it's helped him tremendously with all his bike ventures and things like that. So yeah, that's great. That's the kind of podcast that we're aiming to give you more of, because it tells you the story, the person behind the company or behind the product. And we did one with Rob Teller, right? Remember that?
Yeah,
That
Rob
was,
Teller.
really
wow. If anyone is a lot like you, Rob Teller is a lot like you. Because as an enthusiast in technology, the first thing you do is you learn. You go into the forums and you learn and you learn and you learn and you help those that have the knowledge gaps that you had before. It's kind of part of your obligation to a community to help engage and build it. I know that some people out there are like, do a search, like that's not helpful, really. Like, so
That's how he started in forums, right?
he started in forums.
Yeah,
He was actually
yeah.
he became a forum leader in the NZXT forums, and then he was promoted to and this is funny. Johnny Ho, which is a friend of ours as well too. He is the guy behind NZXT. He's the guy that created the Gundam Transformer cases. He had to teach an entire industry how to build those. So he himself is an innovator, and
Yeah.
he hired Rob Teller. He hired him because he saw something unique about him. Because he himself is a brilliant guy in the sense that he knows how to build a community around products, and I think they saw that spark
Yeah.
as something that they needed as well too. The community needs that as well too. So I thought that was pretty awesome to hear that becoming a forum guy, lurking on the forums, starting to help out, becoming a leader in that forum, and then being inspired by an entire industry to do your own thing, to go forward. Rob's been in and out of the industry in certain ways, and if you want to learn about a really interesting guy that went
Yeah.
from forum guy to now a product lead and a really innovative and like I think they
Yeah.
are shaking things up.
That's
They
right.
really are. A company that shakes things up, you have to watch that interview that is featured in season 5. We'll link it below as well too, because
Yeah.
it for young people out there, he's the guy that you need to listen to. He's not your dad. He's not your cousin. He's the guy that did it, and he's still very, very young, and he has a lot to teach you. I am inspired by this guy.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, that's right.
That was such a treat.
It
That's
is.
such a
It is
treat.
good to hear.
His company's called Hyte, just in case. And yeah, like they were the guys that drove the bus around that looked like a computer case. That is the type
Yeah,
of out
that's
of the
right.
box thinking and marketing that he and his team are capable of. And watch out.
That viral video got like millions of
Yeah.
views, like, you know, and people, it kind of like just put Hyte on the roadmap.
Yeah.
People knew, hey, that's a Hyte case. Hey, that rolling bus, that's based on the Hyte case. You know?
And you know what's funny is that we know a lot of people. They're friends with us on Facebook and everything like that. There was a comment by somebody from another company, very big, prominent company that used to be that super duper, extra special, like, do everything company before they went public. And he said something to the extent that, that Rob Taylor guy, he's got to chill. Rob doesn't chill. Rob is all out.
yeah. He's a really cool guy. You should watch that podcast. It's actually in
Definitely.
season 5. So
Now,
you know.
another really fun, I thought it was fun, is talking to a female leader in the tech space, right?
That's right.
I mean, you don't get to talk to a lot of them, especially hardware, right?
That's right.
And to find someone that is just so, she's awesome.
Yeah, she's just chilled out.
Yeah.
But then she knows a lot. She's been in the industry for many years, like 15 years, right?
15 years with this company, InWin, who she is the global marketing manager for. But to have someone that takes the best of her team, recognizes what they do the best, not harping on the things that like Taiwanese is very work, like Asian culture. But she sees that, hey, you know what? Creative people need to do creative people things. So
That's right,
she's taken
yeah.
the best of everyone and has nurtured those environments so that they can build some of the most innovative and captivating cases out there.
Yeah, some of the cases you've seen out there are like, especially the InWin cases, they're like amazing, right? But then it's like limited edition, but they have special like features on them. It's the stuff that you don't see often, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all from this creative team that she leads,
Yes.
or one of the teams that she leads, right? So, and this creative team comes up with some of the great ideas, and it's all thanks to Nelly's leadership, right? Without her, it's a lot of companies have creative teams, but they're not encouraged to do what expected. Especially with big companies. But she allows the creativity to thrive and grow
In their own way, because
I mean, Nelly,
Wow.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
she remember the story. She's so humble as well, because remember the story she told us about the first day she went to work.
Yeah.
Tell us the story.
So in Taiwan, you don't really drive a lot
Yep.
because it's expensive. It's also traffic isn't exactly the best there, and being able to get around and weave through traffic, especially where she is, which is in part of Taiwan that's near the airport, right? So she has to drive out to the airport, near the airport, and her commute on her very first day was the very first time that she drove by herself in the vehicle, and she thought that, and I think so too, because I've seen the traffic there, I probably wouldn't drive in Taiwan. She made it to work without crashing the car, and she was so elated. And also so proud of herself, and it's those small victories that make us love her so much more.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just she's so humble, and it's just a lovable character. Because
Yeah.
I mean, you don't see many female leaders.
No, you don't.
In the IT industry.
Yeah,
and
with the exception of AMD.
okay, yeah, sure, of course.
With the exception of AMD, I mean, I think she is really exceptional as well too. But there needs to be more, because how can you get? It's kind of like, I don't know if you watch anime at all, but this what's it called again?
Which one?
There's it's the kid without magic, and he has the huge sword. It's not Demon Slayer. It's the other one.
Demon Slayer. The only thing I can think of is
one.
Demon Slayer.
Anyway, he's part of a wizard corps called the Black Bulls, and they are like the misfits of the entire industry, the entire
Magic
kingdom, right?
Kingdom, right? Okay.
Right. And but they do things their way, and they have a leader that kind of lets them do that and brings out the best in them all at the same time. And they are, and he encourages them to push past their limits.
Yeah.
And I think that InWin is kind of like that. And I hate that I can't remember what the show is called. Someone will know. Black Balls, Asta, I know the characters' names. I've been watching this anime. I can't remember the name. See, I'm getting old. But I feel that InWin is kind of like that. They're always innovating. They're always going, in a sense, racing in the innovation sense. And as a result, InWin's not a small company. They build for other companies
Big
out there.
OEM company. Yeah.
It's all behind the scenes, right? And all this stuff has to come from somewhere, right? So a lot of the cases that they build that you see out there are like, wow, this is an amazing case. Those cases, the 200 limited edition pieces, make no money.
They don't.
In fact, most of them lose money.
That's right.
Simply because it's an R&D effort. And from that R&D effort, they've scaled that technology to build lots and lots of cases, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's why Nelly is such an effective leader, because she's gotten those people to do these, to push past their limits. All these misfit, like creators. I mean, Nelly herself is a creative person. She was actually going to go into the fashion industry, right?
That's right.
She had no interest in IT, really.
Yeah.
But she found this opportunity to prove herself in an effort to build a team.
Yeah.
And then she found her passion, because her passion is people, and it shows.
Yeah, that's true. You can see through the podcast that we've done with Computex, a lot of the companies are moving on in terms of, back in the day, it was about the product. It's about leadership. It's about people from, how do they start and then go through the jumping the loops, the hoops, get into that leadership role and so on. But now, if you look at the podcast with ASRock, for example, they don't hire anyone under 30.
Yeah, that was shocking, actually. That was very shocking.
And, of course, leadership roles, you might want to hire some CEO, whatever, or CF or whatever. That's in the 50s and 60s. But, for the team, they're under 30. That means there's a lot of great creative ideas that are coming out from these kids, right? Early 20s, fresh from college. They have an idea. They have something that, it's a spark. They want to try it out. And with ASRock's podcast, it also mentioned about listening to customers' feedback. And that is true. So they get the feedback of customers, they improve on the product, they try it out, give it to the people that was involved. I think that's good. And that's also what Hyte and Rob Ted is about, right?
Yeah.
Listening to the community, listening to the customers. And you can see that's a big change in Computex, in all of the Taiwanese companies, IT companies now going forward, especially now with the younger generation going up now. I have to even train my 15-year-old nephew.
Yeah.
How to, hey, what's a motherboard? This is a motherboard.
Yes.
That's what's inside the computer, right? So you have to kind of train them up.
Okay, I remember the show. It's called Black Clover.
Oh, Black Clover.
Okay, so it's Black Clover.
Okay.
So Asta and the Black Bulls are in Black Clover. See? Delayed memory. So, ASRock is actually a motherboard company. This is the most traditional type of organization that you'll find in Taiwan. You've got Asus, you've got MSI, you've got ASRock, Gigabyte. All these companies build motherboards. It's pretty, standard fare. It's the heart of any system, right?
Yeah.
And I have it on good authority that most students, when they come out of school, they've taken marketing in Taiwan. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, they go to a company. Management will not listen to them.
That's true.
It's like, no, I have these ideas. No, it'll never work. No. You do it this way.
That works. Do it that way.
Yeah,
right?
This is what we're doing, right? ASRock is a diamond in the rough.
It is.
In a sense, right? Or very, very, very more likely, they are just scratching the surface of what's actually becoming the norm in tech, in a lot of industries. It's just not mainstream quite yet.
Yeah. I mean, they're the first to come up with like streaming motherboards. And you're probably thinking, why the hell do you want a streaming motherboard? But hey, there's a market for that. Customers want it. They want to the PC look nice. They want to have lots of USB ports, right? Because not many motherboards can support more than like 23 USB ports,
Until they
right?
crash, yes.
Until they crash. But they make the motherboard that doesn't crash. With
Yes.
23 ports of USB connectivity, right?
It's
like
important.
webcam and mics and
So many things.
controllers and lights and all that kind of stuff. But they did that for a streaming motherboard. And
Yeah.
they did another one with something like a Sonic the Hedgehog themed motherboard.
Oh yeah, the cross-branded motherboards
Yeah.
is actually something very unique. I mean, looking back, there's other brands that have done that. Like Asus obviously has done many things as well too. I can't even name them right now because there's so many, and they have so many different lines and brands and everything like that. But I think that ASRock does have that younger thinking, and they're listening to their under 30 employees, which is so refreshing. I mean, there's so many great ideas there, and I think this is kind of why for so long you would have the industry just go along and focus on specs and features. It's all they knew how to do. And then finally we come back to Computex after this many years, and it's such a refreshing twist on everything, right?
Yeah.
Because we're like, wow, we've been telling them to do this for years. They finally get it.
And then, hey, we don't look at the motherboard the same way that we used to anymore, right?
No.
And the other thing is, talking about youngsters and the younger generation, we did the podcast with Coolmaster CEO, right? Jimmy Hsieh.
Oh my God.
Tell
He's
us
the
some more.
coolest guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Uncle Jimmy. Actually, no, he's not even uncle. He's our brother. Brother Jimmy. He is probably, besides Kenny Lin, probably one of the coolest CEOs that you'll ever meet. He's truly a creator in every sense, because it was funny. He was actually taking us. He was so excited about the technology and the stuff that he was that their company was doing, that he took us around and he showed us. Oh, check this motherboard power supply out. You know how power supplies were like huge and everything like that. We're doing this technology to shrink it down. Like, check out how we're doing this. It's so cool. Like, he is so excited.
That's right. And his new office is all about collaboration, and creative space and stuff like that. And you can see that he has a lot of new products and also new innovations geared towards creators and things like that. And didn't he dedicate a whole floor for creators?
They have a plan in the works to create an entire floor that is dedicated to creating content of any kind. It's probably anywhere from building custom PCs all the way to streaming, all the way to just doing products and how-tos and creative sort of ways, and creating content as well too in other aspects like graphics or video, whatever, right? So this space is kind of free form, and even he says, like, you know what, we're still trying to figure out what we want to do here, but it's going to be free flowing. So they want to put everything together now and see what the spaces look like, and they'll morph it to whatever people need. One other thing that I thought was really interesting, and it's based on the collaboration and creative aspect of this new building that they have in Nehu, which is a really nice area in Taiwan. It's very much like Richmond, actually, to be perfectly honest. It looks like Richmond in most places, but their heat sink, their building looks like a huge heat sink. It's very creative looking. It's often used by Taiwan's television networks for their T dramas, Taiwan dramas. As like some sort of sinister building or some government agency. But because it's Taiwan, what they do is they run out to the lawn in the middle of the night. They do all their filming with no permits, and then they run away. And then the CEO or the marketing team at Cooler Master discover that their building has been used in another show again. But that's their building, right? So you see it a lot in a lot of the more recent Taiwan dramas and everything. And downstairs in the what they call the cooler bar, or the Cooler Master bar.
That's right.
Is this creative culinary space. Now, Jimmy Hsieh loves to cook, and he loves to create culinary dishes on his own, right? The guy went to school in what's that? You say it a funny way.
Which one?
Worcester?
Worcester.
What's that place called? His university. Leicester.
Oh, yeah, this is
I call
Worcester,
it Leicester. No, it's Leicester.
Oh, Leicester, yeah.
So he went to school there. He's based on the Netherlands now, right?
Yeah, Netherlands.
So he's got such a world-rounded view of things.
That's true.
That is really, I think that's the key to helping Cooler Master become not just a IT computer case making company. We're seeing a lot of innovation in that space.
It's because he's been traveling quite a bit, so he's got that global sense in terms of like, okay, what people want in Asia is different from what people want in Europe, is what different from people want in the US. So by traveling a lot and understanding what customers want, he actually, or his team, will kind of take these ideas and then implement them into like, the products and stuff like that. The creator space is something new. Also the consumer space, as well as things like just seats. They're producing seats. These gaming seats with vibration. When there's like the drummer kits, right?
Yeah, it's a whole new setup. Like it's an integrated, like a system integrator type solution that they're working together with, to kind of build these spaces that are just way beyond what you can imagine. I mean, I was sitting in their VR, it's not VR, it's just an immersive racing space where the screen just wraps all the way around.
Yeah.
And I physically got ill. It's so realistic, right? The vibration and everything, it's realistic, right? So Cooler Master is no longer just that case company. Like that's where they came from. And even Jimmy, he remembers all their signature cases, like the Wave Master, like the Cosmos, like he remembers all their achievements. But I think that throughout all of this, it's always that creator spirit that he's bringing in, he's injecting into the company that's really going to power and propel this company beyond, because they're already building hardware tools, they're building speakers, they're trying to get into more places in your battle station, workstation setup.
That's true.
And they all come from collaboration from the entire company.
They collaborated with Framework, which is also a company which Linus has invested.
We're not going to talk about that in the show, so don't even get us started.
And also modders. So they've created cases which doesn't even look like a case. It looks like a sneaker, right? And that's all come from collaboration with modders and stuff like that. So it's a lot of products that they can come up with different collaborators and stuff like that. And I think without telling the story, he actually told the story. So that's what I mean by having these talks and interviews with these guys, the CEOs and the product people at these companies, so to give you the story themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
It's almost like there needed to be a person behind all of this to kind of draw inspiration from, right? Like, yes, it's a team. Cooler Master is a team, but Jimmy Hsieh is their leader. And if Jimmy Hsieh is the leader, he needs to speak for his organization, because he's the guy we support. He's the guy we like. And yes, all the work comes from his team, and we know that. But someone needs to either own it, like flaunt it, and take ownership of things when they go good and bad. And Jimmy is that guy. But I feel that he's just the right guy at the right time right now, where he's doing so much to just not to take the old edge off the old IT company and just bring it into a new era. Like he is that guy. He is the cool brother. Some of you, if you're way younger, yes, he's the cool uncle. He's definitely the cool uncle for sure.
Yeah. So back to season 5, we have lots of Computex shows. So Computex shows are great. You go and watch that. Like I said, we booked 3. So it was like Thermaltake.
It was only 3. We're supposed to only do 3.
ASRock and Cougar, and they end up doing like 12 different ones.
Yeah.
And I think the good thing is, I said the sponsored trip that we did, and I think word got out when we did the Thermaltake one, the Kenny Lin, word got out, and people was like, "Oh, Winston and Steven's doing this podcast. I want to be on it. I want to be on it." So we ended up doing like 12, and there's some interesting stories.
Very interesting stories.
So go and watch that.
Yeah.
And other things included, we did like Samsung Unpacked, and we also did the Apple one with the Vision Pro.
Oh, the Vision Pro, yes.
Yeah. So season 5 was super busy.
Super busy. Very PC and hardware focused, but more behind the scenes, behind behind the people, behind the organizations, which I think is very important because we're not going to show you graphs. We're not going to bore you with specs. We're not going to bore you with the millisecond response time between this chip and this one. We're never going to do that. We're going to give you infotainment. We're going to give you the behind the scenes. We're going to give you people's stories, why they do what they do. And, ultimately, we're just going to make it interesting, right?
Yeah,
because people are interesting, right?
It's true, because podcast is one thing. If you look at some of the tech stuff, it's just a bit too techy. But if you look at your social media, right? Facebook, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, the first thing that comes up is stories.
Yes.
Right? So this is what we want to provide you through our podcast, is stories about people in the tech, people who use consumer products, who in general like dads.
Yeah, and remember, stories are the easiest, is the best form of marketing because it's something that has a hero, a beginning, middle, and end, and it's easy to pass on to your best friend or neighbor or whatever who might be looking at a case, who might be looking at joining this IT company, and he's wondering if maybe this is the right fit or not. We've told a lot of these stories. We've given a lot of these experiences. And if you want to find out if IT or tech is right for you, you have to watch some of these shows because I remember our last show from Computex, which was the one with Emmett from Straycom.
Oh, yeah.
This guy had no interest in IT at all. Yet, he's been there for almost a decade because I met the guy in 2014.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Almost a decade, right?
Yeah, he's been pushing it,
He's been pushing it. But he's found some way to find joy in the industry and also longevity as well too. So maybe a certain market, a certain company may not be your cup of tea initially, but you might find that because of that challenge, you're willing to work harder.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. Yeah, I think customer feedback and the community really helps because if you're in the community or if you hear the customer's feedback and you've done the product right, you get good feedback, right? Yeah. And it gives you a little bit of a boost kind of thing. But also if you're in a community and there's community concerns about certain products and they, you should do this because this didn't work, you get that feedback and you make the product better, right? But also you have accountability and things like that with your customers and responsibility, which it kind of like you're like the big brother.
Yeah.
Like I want to look after you guys.
Yeah.
And so on. So it gives you that kind of sense of achievement as well, which I think, though if you're not in the tech industry but you are into the community space, I think that really kind of drives.
There's a lot of different communities out there. It's not just tech. I mean, cars,
yeah.
Basically anything, like even printers, crafting. There are a lot of photography.
Photography, yeah.
These are all communities. They're driven by you, right? This is how some people have gotten into the industry, like in the case of Rob Teller, which is, we all start from somewhere. We might not go into an industry that we even love initially, and we've shown that people can thrive in those situations because they put their spin on things, and now they have ownership as a result of that. True, and there are companies out there that have listened to their youth and have thrived as a result, have gotten from underneath their old parent and become their own person. And I think in a sense, this is what's happening big time in Taiwan, where all these companies are coming out from underneath where their parents were and becoming their own brands and really just nailing it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's almost like 2 decades, right? Since kind of like that's when their kids are growing up now and they're bringing their fresh ideas, which is more again
and they're being listened to.
Yeah, that's right.
Finally being listened to and implementing and executing all the things that they've been telling mom and dad for so long.
Okay, true.
Now mom and dad are ready to let the kitchen go to the kids. Now the kids are like doing fine dining and making 10 times the amount of margin that you are. Oh, why is that bad?
That's true. So going forward from here, are we going to talk a little bit about stats, or are we going to just kind of like just give them an idea of what to expect for the next season?
I think that the next season, I think you deserve a chat with that, because we promise no stats or anything like that. We don't want to talk about numbers. We want to talk about how thankful we are for the people that have subscribed. I know right now, as of the recording of this update, is that we've got 377 core people. You've been sticking around for the longest time. Thank you.
Thank you.
We also know that around the world, we have a lot of different viewers that have not subscribed. I mean, there's at least 80 to 90% of you that have not subscribed. But we still thank you, because you're tuning in every week. We know that it's getting a subscription these days is a lot tougher, because YouTube no longer emphasizes subscription as a measure of success on their platform, good or bad. But it's a vanity metric that we hope to kind of, grow as well too with you. If you think that we deserve the subscription, definitely do that, because we want to make more shows that you like. We also want to hear your comments. This is probably one of the most sincere asks of any channel, is that if you put a comment below and it's a show or something that we can change or make happen, Winston and I will do it. This is ground level, right? So don't be afraid to talk to us. Just put the comment below. We're listening. We hear you.
I'm still up for a road trip. So if you guys want us to do a road trip somewhere, like live kind of recording on the road with nothing attached,
right,
then we'll do it.
We'll do it,
because that's something I've always wanted to do, especially in an EV. I want to see how far we can get in an EV.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We could go across Canada. That would be fun. So that's, and speaking of ways and means to do those things, I think that we kind of set ourselves a mini kind of lofty goal that, hey, it would be nice to have sponsors. So for season 1, we were kind of, looking back, it was a little cringe, but we're like, hey, and if you have we kept asking for sponsors, and I don't think that was the right way to go about it. We should have just done our thing and have sponsors kind of show up and help us out behind the scenes, right? We've had some help at Computex, right?
Yeah, that was great.
That was unprecedented.
I think with that was to do with all the connections that we have, people that we knew in the industry, and all the history that we have in the past. So that kind of helped is, have that connection. And that's why it's good to get out there, meet people, make that connection, and build up that relationship, which will help. In some of our podcasts in our previous season, we mentioned how to create that community, and also getting the podcast running, how to kind of approach it. And this is one of the stuff that you need to do, is to build relationships with the people that you want to connect with and build good or create good podcasts with.
Yeah. So. And I think that one of the companies that I've always wanted to, do something more with is a company that...
Are you stressed?
I'm not anymore. But this company right here. This is, funny enough, Kingston Technology, which is, this guy. This is their mascot, Rex. They've been one of the companies that I remember fondly throughout my entire career as a reviewer, making videos and everything like that.
Yeah.
They were actually one of the first people to kind of work with me when I started out on YouTube, because they saw the potential of that platform growing. They were way ahead of their time. The first sponsorship I ever got dollar-wise was from Kingston. So I feel that we're kind of coming full circle again, because I'm on a new adventure with Winston, and it's a podcast of all things, right? If you want to grow on YouTube, this is probably the slowest way to do it.
But we're having fun. We're having fun. We're bringing the content to you via, of course, the comments, and also the ideas that that you want to we want to give you the content that people haven't got. They don't get the behind the scenes, the stories behind the people. So Kingston, I think they see something interesting with what we're doing. So season 6, Kingston is partnering with us. They will be helping us do something that we
believe in this well too, and I think a lot of you as well too, especially in a economy where we can't really afford new things all the time now, and that's to help people upgrade things rather than recycling or buying new, right? Kingston, if you don't know, they're a company that makes all sorts of flash, memory, SSD products. They work with a lot of different players in the enterprise, and also you'll see all their products at almost any computer store in the world. Right?
Yeah.
They have great support 24/7, and they're just a company that really stands behind their products, and they make products that are highly compatible, I would say, because I've never had a product that just didn't outright work unless it was my damn fault.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, in the creators, especially in the creator space, with SD cards, I mean, everybody needs SD cards for their cameras, their phones, and stuff like that, right? And you need that expansion on that capacity.
They're very good value. I mean, their Canvas select line of memory cards, you'll see these around. They don't push them as hard as a SanDisk or ProGrade or a Lexar, but they cost a little bit less, but they actually perform just as well.
and they're pretty solid. I have one myself, not this one. I think it's the Gold series. They have them for the cameras. So in fact, I'm using it right now in the camera. So they make good products. And in terms of the PC space, they have great looking memory. It's desktop memory for gaming, for overclocking and things like that.
But more importantly, they were actually one of the first companies to build a kit. They included screwdrivers and a disk and everything that you needed to upgrade your SSD. They were one of the first people to offer a kit in Canada and nationally and globally that empowered people to move their stuff onto an SSD and then take their old hard drive and move it to a second bay, because that was the hot setup a few years ago.
That's the 3.5 inch.
That's the 3.5 to 2.5.
Yeah, the 3.5 inch. Yeah, that's right.
So I think in a lot of senses, we're very much aligned. We want to help people get the best out of anything that they do overall, and we want to find ways to increase the value of what they have, even if you can't afford the latest stuff. So throughout the entire season 6, we'll be having a co-message, because I think this is a good thing, because we believe in this as well too. Is that we're going to help you upgrade it, and if you can't upgrade it, then we'll help you with what you need to get something that is appropriate, whether it's used or new. So upgrade it or renew it or whatever. We're gonna take the upgrade path first, and we're so happy to have Kingston on board with us for season 6. There's going to be some key episodes where we're going to be featuring a lot more Kingston products, simply because they fit. They're good fit for the guides that we have, and there might be a giveaway, maybe 2. So we're working on that with them, and we want to make sure that we provide as much value as possible, because Kingston does expect us to not only present their product, but also give a good reason why their products fit, right? In a very authentic sense. They don't want us to sugarcoat anything. They don't want us to not be outright, because it's not their way.
Their products are really good. I mean, they're the first ones who have, when it comes to computer stuff, right? Full compatibility with Intel and AMD, right? Normally, it's either one or the other. If it's compatible with Intel, it will be compatible with AMD and vice versa. But this one, Kingston Memory, are compatible through all Intel and AMD. So
and I hope that we'll be able to teach you some things that they've taught us about cybersecurity and things like that. They have some really neat products that have actually helped a lot of organizations, and hopefully we'll be able to tell some of those stories along the way, including products that, people have a lot of old tech at home, and to be able to take something and just bring it into 2023, a 5-year-old machine, whatever. I mean, it's amazing what you can do with just a simple upgrade. And for creators as well too, we've got a lot of products that they make that people are just they know they exist, but how does it benefit? We're going to figure out some ways to show you that throughout that entire season. So thank you, Kingston, for being on board for season 6. We look forward to working with you. And thank you for believing in us and for subscribing when you can and for just tuning in every week. I know that there's a lot of people from Italy watching our channel as of the recording of this. So thank you as well, too. I don't know why, but if you can tell us below, let us know why you're here. But, love Italy.
Yeah, Italy. I think you mentioned Italy a few times. Maybe that's probably why.
Maybe. I do.
Yeah.
I do love Italy. I do love Italy. It's a great place.
Yeah.
All right. So that's a look back at season 5. It was exciting. It went by faster than we thought. It's also one of our longest seasons with the most amount of shows.
That's true.
And
busy.
It has been a landmark season for us because of all the activity.
Yeah.
And it catapulted us into a place where we, honestly, I never thought that we would have a sponsored podcast. I thought this would just be us talking every weekend about tech. And, eventually something might happen. But, thanks to friends like Kingston Technology, it's happening a little bit faster. So I hope we can continue to bring the shows that you want, the content that you want, and the conversations that you need to hear every week, Wednesday at noon on YouTube exclusively. And if you want to keep up with us, we're actually available on social media now. Our podcast show on the X Factor, the X Network, Elon's X Network. And also we are on Instagram at our podcast show as well, too.
Are we on Threads?
Are we on Threads? No, we're not quite on Threads yet. But we, eventually we'll be on Threads. But we're,
we'll get there.
We'll get there. We're still a little bit under. We're focusing on the shows, okay? So if you want us to be on Threads, you let us know below on the comments. We'll gladly consider that as well too.
Great.
Until next time, we'll be starting season 6 on Wednesday.
Season 6.
Yes, season 6. And here's what to look forward to. We know everyone's going back to school or back to work, and season 6, the first show of season 6, will cover back to school.
Back to school.
All right. We've got some really great informative things to let parents and students know about as they go back to school. I know some of you have already gone back to school, especially in the US, because you guys start a week earlier. But I'm hoping that this show will not only make you aware of things about the gear that you already have and maybe add some more value to your tech stack when you take it to your dorm room. But hopefully what we say will be the advice that you already got, and it's just going to galvanize your decisions so that you're not worried about whether or not you bought enough gear, bought enough tech, bought enough performance for the upcoming semesters, right?
Right. So back to school, our next podcast.
Yes.
Right.
Brought to you by Kingston Technology. And we're so proud. So thank you, everyone. From Winston and I, we will see you next week.
See you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.